Hi there, thanks for joining us. It's The Sweet Spot. You are warmly welcome to this week's show. Bruce Millington and Steve Palmer talking all things golf betting. We'll look back on last week's two events in which friends, rivals, I'm not quite sure what the relationship is now. Dustin Johnson and Brooks Koepka both won. And we'll be looking ahead to just one tournament this week, but it's a good one. DJ is back out and dominates the market for the Pebble Beach Pro Am. The good news for which is no AMs this year because of COVID. So no Bill Murray, no former quarterbacks, no 8-hour rounds, 156 pros, 2 courses, and hopefully Steve can keep up the winning work because, Steve, you put not all your eggs, but a lot of your eggs in the DJ basket in the Saudi International last week. They hatched some winners and you also had some place booty as well. It was a good week, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an interesting week. I mean, Dustin Johnson, to steal a horsey expression, he won that with his head in his chest. I'm not very au fait with my horses, but I think that is exactly what happened there because his putting was terrible. He missed so many chances on the greens, but he was swinging so well and so solid from tee to green that it didn't matter in the end. It was quite a cosy victory. But yeah, he could have won by 5 or 6 with a standard week of putting.
Well, hang on. Do you mind if I just a bit at that? I mean, you say he won with his head in his chest. I backed him. I was on the edge of my seat. I was in turmoil at times. It wasn't that simple, was it? Blimey, as you say, of course I did. You know what I'm like, the ultimate pessimist. But I've never seen a tournament won with such a cold putter. What was going on there?
Yeah, I know. It did keep it interesting, didn't it? I mean, the little tiddler he missed late doors there. But yeah, I never
fussed. Were you always?
No. I always felt he was just about going to get the job done. Yeah, he was just doing enough all the way through. I was more worried about the places. You know, Ryan Fox and Rasmus Højgaard. You know, that they were really struggling to get into the places that we needed. So yeah, I was focused on them and always very confident that Dustin would get the job done, particularly when Tony Finau became the biggest danger. I mean, Finau just the horsey expression for him. He came up beside and then, I don't know, fell over.
If he was a horse, my friend, he would have blinkers, cheek pieces, the lot, wind ops, you name it. I mean, I sent you a pathetic text, didn't I? Going, oh no, this will be the week that Finau gets it done when it comes, and you didn't even dignify it with a reply. It was brilliant.
No, it was good fun. That was just successful tournament, but obviously you talk about eggs in baskets. I went heavily on the double, didn't I, with Jon Rahm in Phoenix, and Jon Rahm finished 13th in Phoenix. His ball striking was good, but his short game really let him down. So yeah, both Dustin and Jon Rahm, their short games were poor last week, but one got away with it in a weaker field, but Rambo never really got seriously into that, so I was really disappointed with him.
Yes, it was an interesting week because, I mean, it was like comeback week, wasn't it? You had Brooks Koepka obviously coming from nowhere to actually snatch it with that chip in at 17 for eagle. You had Jordan Spieth back in contention, didn't you? I half expected Anthony Kim to appear on the premises at one point. It was all a bit retro, wasn't it? And the big letdown for me, and I know you tipped him to be top American, so I'm sure you absolutely hated what he did at 17. I mean, that was a horrific shot by Xander Schauffele, wasn't it? My goodness me.
Yeah, I mean, that's 8 second-place finishes since his last victory now for Schauffele. I think the losing streak clearly in his head. He's gone 25 months without a victory, so many near misses. So, yeah, I feel for Schauffele. That was it's such a horrible hook into the water on 17. Koepka just doing the opposite. I mean, the 17th hole obviously was the turning point. Koepka makes an eagle. And he was 5 under par for the closing 6 holes. An amazing burst of scoring. But, you know, given real encouragement by Schauffele and Spieth, who, you know, both on long losing droughts and couldn't handle being in that final 2. But, I mean, we opposed them, final 3, but we opposed them in running on Sunday, but with the wrong man. You know, Justin Thomas was the selection going into the final round.
And we can exonerate JT, can't we? Because he lost his grandfather, didn't he? So he found out on Saturday night, so that didn't help, did it?
Yeah, it's a great shame now. I mean, yeah, he didn't seem fully switched on Sunday. But, I mean, Koepka's a fascinating individual because he's won 8 PGA Tour titles and half of them are majors and a quarter of them are Phoenix Opens. You know, he loves this tournament and, you know, we need to respect him in Phoenix Opens going forward. And, you know, he was switched on. There's been a lot going on behind the scenes. I mean, I think it's fascinating, this love triangle between Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, and Claude Harmon. I mean, you talk about the relationship between Dustin Johnson and Brooks Koepka. I think their friendship was overblown. They basically just went down the gym together, and everyone wanted to make them out as big bosom buddies, but I don't think they ever were. And there's always been this tension of Claude Harmon. They were sharing the same coach. And when Koepka won the 2019 USPGA, just after that, Dustin Johnson and Claude Harmon parted company, and then Johnson was rubbish for a few months and then rehired Claude Harmon. And then last November, hilariously, Dustin Johnson wins the Masters, and 3 days after the Masters, Koepka sacks Claude Harmon. A real sort of throwing the toys out the pram thing. Wow. He's like a little kiddie. You let Dustin win the Masters. You're not my daddy anymore. I wanted to win the Masters. The timing of it was just pathetic. But Koepka's obviously handling not having a full-time coach a lot better than Johnson did. I think Johnson needs the focus of a full-time coach to keep him up to his work. Koepka said he's getting text messages off Butch Harmon, so it's very strange. Sacks Claude Harmon, Butch's son, still in text contact with Butch, and he's got Pete Cowan as his short game coach, but he's not getting as much coaching now, Koepka, but it doesn't seem to matter on the evidence of Sunday.
No, absolutely. Koepka's obviously shortened appreciably for the Masters now. Does this mean he is back as such, Steve? I mean, obviously, if that chip had gone slightly awry and he'd taken a regulation 4 there, he's kind of top 10 and no one's really talking about him. So, do we get excited if we're Brooks Koepka fans?
You're right. It's very fine margins, isn't it? Even if he birdies that hole, Schauffele birdies it, and Schauffele could easily have edged him. It was the poor finish from Schauffele that helped him over the line, as well as the chip in. But yeah, you could see the confidence just flooding back into him. In the press conference afterwards, he's strutting around the place, and he's got a good Masters record. He's massively on the radar for the Masters. Yeah.
Okay, I just did that thing I absolutely hate, where you talk about things that happened in the present tense. If that chip goes awry and he makes, I don't know why people would do that. Why don't just use past tense? Anyway, sorry about that. Anyone else to note from last weekend in either tournament?
Well, Spieth, we have to discuss Spieth. I mean, there's a lot of excitement for Spieth. You talk about Koepka's price falling. Obviously, Spieth's Masters record is amazing, so everyone's got Spieth mania now. He's 25-1 for this week in Pebble Beach. He's a former winner at Pebble Beach. He has to be considered, but he's gone from 100-1 last week to 25-1 this week on the basis of one really good round on an easy day. It was set up really easy on Saturday, and he took advantage. Hold lots of long putts. When it came to the crunch, the drive into the water when he ruined his chance, ended his chance. I don't think Spieth's driving the ball well enough for us to say Spieth is back. I think we've got to be a bit more patient.
Okay, thank you, Steve. We've got loads and loads of questions. Thanks so much for everyone who's sent a question in for Steve. We'll work through a ton of those, but let's do this week's tournament in next up. As I say, it's the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro Am. Normally a weird old event with like I say, amateurs and celebrities and that kind of thing dogging it. But that's not the case this year because of COVID. It's a standard stroke play event. Steve will tell us all about the courses and, of course, his selections. But first, let's have a quick butchers at the betting. And DJ, not surprisingly, dominates the market 4-1. I think I read that he's won 16 of his last 100 tournaments. That's not bad, is it? Patrick Cantley, as Paul McGinley calls him, he's 10-1 next in. And then you've got Daniel Berger at 18s, Paul Casey at 20s. And it's 25-1 bar. There are some good names this week. But, Steve, is it at the mercy of the great Dustin Johnson?
Yeah, the first thing to say is about the courses. This is called the Pebble Beach Pro Am, but it's actually the Pebble Beach No Am because we haven't got any amateurs this week, which we're all really thrilled about. But we've only got 2 courses. Normally have 3. Monterey Peninsula has been axed. And we've only got Pebble Beach and Spyglass Hill. So we've got 54 holes at Pebble Beach this week, one of the best courses in the world. We couldn't be happier about that. And then 18 holes at Spyglass Hill, which is slightly tougher. Both par 72s, both similar length, 7,051 yards Pebble Beach, 7,041 yards Spyglass Hill.
And obviously, Steve, sorry, Steve, half the field play one on the Thursday, the other half play the other, and then they swap round on Friday, and then we've got the cut, and then the last 2 are at the same course. Yeah, just to clarify that.
That's it. That's right. And it's a week of contrast. We've got Pebble Beach is right by the coast, but the vast majority of Spyglass Hill runs through the Del Monte forest. So yeah, fascinating week. I hope they've got cameras at both courses, and we can enjoy seeing a bit of Spyglass Hill.
Absolutely. How many selections this week, Steve?
Ah!
Goodness me. Are you going with the fav, or are you going to look elsewhere?
I'm not going with the fav. No, I am looking elsewhere.
Why
I think
not?
4-1's. I think 4-1's a bit tight. I don't like transatlantic travel like that. As you say, he didn't win quite as cozy as he would have liked, and then he's got a long trek back from the Middle East. I mean, he's got a good Pebble Beach record, but I can leave him alone at 4-1.
What price would you back him at, do you think?
I think I'd need a bit of 7-1 this week because
okay.
he took a significant dent to his putting confidence last week, didn't he? It's the first tournament for a while where he's completely lost his confidence on the greens. Both him and his caddy there, his brother Austin, were completely bemused by the greens in Saudi Arabia. So I think there are grounds for leaving Dustin alone at that price.
Okay, who is your headline selection?
My headline selection is Patrick Cantlay. I know you like to talk about him in Paul McGinley terms. You haven't seen Paul McGinley for a while, have we? So
no.
Maybe we won't get the that pronunciation this week. But yeah, I think Patrick Cantlay.
So Paul's okay, actually. That's a good point. He hasn't been on the coverage for a while, has he?
He hasn't been on, but I'm sure he's
all
fine.
right.
I'm sure he's fine. Patrick Cantlay is a Californian. He loves competing in his home state. And his last 2 appearances in California have resulted in first place in the Zozo Championship, where he fended off John Rahm and Justin Thomas over the last few holes. Great victory in the Zozo. And then second place in the American Express, where he closed with a 61, didn't he, to put the Willies up us, put the Willies up Siwoo Kim backers. So he loves competing in his home state. He's performed really well there lately. He was 9th on his debut in the Pebble Beach Pro Am in 2013. Got a solid record in the event. He was 11th there last year. He's a great scrambler around those small greens that I mentioned at Pebble Beach. He's a strong enough ball striker to handle Spyglass. So I think Cantlay at 10-1 is a better bet than Johnson at 4-1 this week.
Oh, he's slow as well, Cantlay, isn't he? So all that time we're going to get back by not having Bill Murray sashaying around the place. We're going to lose by Cantlay being... Oh, he was so slow the other day. I can't bear it. Okay, but anyway, if we back him and he wins, we don't care how long he takes, do we? That's the way it works.
That's it.
That's the spirit, isn't it?
You don't mind how slow they are, how much cheating they do, as long as they win.
No, we never condone cheating, do we, children?
No, but okay. If you Patrick Reed and he bends the rule book, shall we say, then you love it. But no, he won't need to, Patrick Cantlay, this week. If Johnson's a bit sluggish out the gates, which I expect him to be, Cantlay would take advantage.
I think people actually underestimate that jet lag thing, don't they, Steve? I mean, whenever I've flown across the pond, it's absolutely hit me for 6 for about a week. I know they go in private jets, but it must still affect you, mustn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Totally different time zone. He's no spring chicken, 36 years of age. Might have had a few tinctures on the flight back. I don't know. I think I'm expecting a sluggish start.
Don't judge everyone by your own standards, mate. Talking of standards, is your beard an acceptable standard for Nicola now? Or is it still a bit short? Can she look at you again?
Still quite short now. I think she likes the grizzly bear look. So, I've still got some work to be done there.
Because revealed last week, she couldn't even look at you, didn't she, without your beard? So.
Yeah. No. She a lot of modern ladies like a beard, don't they? You should try one. Bruce.
I can't, mate. I'm still too immature. When I reach puberty, I'll have a go. Anyway, without further ado, there's a lot of ado there. Cantlay's the main selection. Who is the next best?
The next best is Will Zalatoris, who has played in this tournament before, crucially. When just after he turned pro, and he 1,935th in the world rankings, he finished 68th in this tournament, so made the cut. Good effort at that stage of his career. He returns this week as world number 49. He was 7th in the Farmers Insurance Open when we were on him in his first start of the year. Last week, Phoenix Open debut, 17th. Very solid. So I think Zalatoris is going to win a PGA Tour title fairly soon.
He's about 25-1, I think, isn't he?
Very much so, John. He was born in California.
By the way, sorry, you can't do that anymore because I keep getting people asking me, why does Steve call you John? So, anyway.
Well, yeah, that's Graham Taylor. Graham Taylor commentary from many moons ago.
When he used to commentate with John Champion, wasn't it?
Those were the days. Were the days taken from us far too early. Will Zalatoris is a Californian. I've seen an interview where he's waxed lyrical about how much he loves Poana greens. So he's a West Coast boy. He's grown up playing on Poana greens. He'll be relishing the greens this week. And I think we're going to get a tougher course setup than we normally do for the Pebble Beach Pro Am because there's no amateurs. You can tuck the pins away. And the weather forecast is for a cool unsettled week. A lot of sporadic showers. The ball's not going to fly very far. So I think this is going to be a tougher setup than normal, and I think Zalatoris will thrive in that. So yeah, the two main bets: Patrick Cantlay, Will Zalatoris.
And then a side order of who?
A side order at bigger prices. Alexander Noren. Mentioned the cool weather. Most of Alexander Noren's success has come in cool climates. He's got a great record in UK and Ireland, great record in Scandinavia, and the closest he came to a PGA Tour victory was in California in January 2018, the Farmers Insurance Open. He lost a playoff to Jason Day that year. He was really unlucky. JB Holmes caused a few problems, if I remember rightly. Noren is always. He was at a great short game as well, and around Pebble Beach, these tiny greens, you need a great short game. I like the fit of Alex Noren for this course.
What price is he?
He's 66 to 1, 70 to 1 sort of mark, and I see him. He's made a solid start to the year. He's just played in California. He's stuck to California, 40th in the American Express, 37th in the Farmers. I think Alex Noren improves this week, and then the finale at an even bigger price is Andrew Putnam. Andrew Putnam became a father last year. His game went awry a little bit as he focused on family life, but this year he's come out the gates with a bit of purpose. He was 21st in the American Express. That included one of the most unluckiest shots I've ever seen, where at the 18th hole, where his ball fired into the pin and then deflected into the greenside water hazard. And then the following week, he was the next time out was last week. His subsequent tournament was last week. Finished 7th in the Phoenix Open, and that was such a solid effort last week. He didn't drop a shot all week. He tied first for greens in regulation. He just put a new set of Srixon irons in the bag. Absolutely thrilled with them. And Putnam's always had a great short game. So I think, 125 to 1 Andrew Putnam, I think, is a very, very tasty each way offering.
Marvellous. Okay, so your four to follow at Pebble Beach this week are?
Patrick Cantlay, Will Zalatoris, Alexander Noren, you can call him Alex if you're his friend, and Andrew Putnam.
Yeah, what have you got the Alexander from? I always thought it was Alex Noren.
Well, when he's taking himself seriously, he calls himself Alexander, and then when he wants to be your buddy, he calls himself Alex.
Okay, right then, we have got loads and loads of questions. I'm not going to be able to get through all of them, but we've only got one tournament for the next few weeks, I think, so I will revisit these. Thanks again ever so much for sending them in. We're going to rattle through them, Steve. David Lay says, is Justin Rose now the play for the next few weeks on the European Tour? Well, there isn't a European Tour event for the next few weeks, but I suppose the point is Justin Rose finished very well. Actually took second behind DJ. So is Rose back now?
Well, there's a lot going on in Justin Rose's life. He's just moving back to London, slowly but surely relocating to London. He's got a new caddy on the bag. Start of the year with a new caddy. He's got rid of Sean Foley, and then last week we revealed that he's re-recruited Sean Foley. So too much going on for me at the moment in Rose, but I think later in the year he will improve. Okay.
Chris Cairn says, are there any golfers that Steve refuses to back no matter what? I've got a few for a start. Thomas Ollison, Thomas Detry, Thomas Peters. They're all called Thomas. Xander Schauffele's on the list now. I'm not having him anymore. Who else? There's a couple of others. But anyway, more importantly, who are yours?
Well, we touched on it last week, didn't we, with Adam Scott and Tony Finau. I mean, I just don't like backing abysmal putters. I mean, Carl Stanley would be another one. Ball striking is more important than putting, but you have to have some semblance of putting ability. So, those would be three of many.
Okay. Keith Park says, what's Steve's process of making a selection? What's the main things he focuses on to assist his selection process? As there's so much info available, it can be a bit mind-boggling trying to assess the most important stats and facts.
It's true. I mean, course and current form is your staple diet. Racing Post Guide to Betting will give you a huge chapter all about every factor that we look into. But what it comes down to, I remember whenever I meet up with Tom Seagull, the horse racing Don, me and Mr. Seagull have these chats, and it comes down to one word, basically, which is ability. You know, in the horsey game and the golfer game, you're trying to find players and horses that have got more ability than the bookmakers realise. You know, they've got scope for improvement is where you get your big edge. So, I can't say the word ability enough.
Okay. Does Steve ever cash out in running? No. For example, Finau must have hit a low price when he birdied the 13th. I think we know the answer to that, Steve, don't we? Is there ever a circumstance where you would cash out?
No. I never have.
If Adam says, if Steve had won the Masters, what would his menu be for the banquet the following year? What would you go for?
KFC bargain buckets all round.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Let's have a look. What else have we got? Oh, Trevor says, have you continued with the lockdown nursery rhymes? That was a popular series, that, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, Grace is getting to that age now where she's a little bit more embarrassed by my conduct. You know, she never used to care.
It only gets worse, mate. She's only 5, isn't she?
Yeah, she's 5 now, and there's certain things I used to do that used to get a big laugh, and now it's rather embarrassing for her. So I think nursery rhymes are slowly but surely being phased out.
Like I say, you've got a good 15 years of this. Nick Penny says, what is Steve's ideal 4-ball for a golf day and associated shenanigans afterwards? Maybe a colleague, maybe, I don't know, someone you've worked with for a few.
Paul Keeley.
Not Paul Keeley.
We had this one a few months back, I think. It was a similar question. I think I went Tiger Woods, Darren Clarke, Anna Kournikova, and Jennifer Capriati, was it? Jennifer Capriati.
I can't remember, mate. Okay, good.
That would be an interesting night.
Adam Fuller says, how many will Francisco Molinari win by this week? Well, given you haven't tipped him, you don't particularly fancy him, but we'll have a quick word with the former major winner. What do you fancy? What do you think of his chances?
I'm close to tipping him. I don't want to put anyone off Francesco Molinari. It's been a fantastic start to the year. 10th and 8th in those 2 California events, based in California now. I respect Molinari. The stiffer ball striking test this week will do him good. It's just been, he hasn't contended seriously for such a long time. That was what put me off. But no, definitely. You're not putting
the man off, no?
No.
Okay, Mark Brown, this is a good question. Which player do you think is bubbling under the radar and is set for a good few weeks on tour? Who else is sort of out of those long shots you think, he's not far off getting tipped?
I think Cameron Davis is going to win a PGA Tour event. We had him the other day. He was second in the American Express, wasn't he? I think Davis probably will win a PGA Tour event this year. You could back him every time he plays. He's playing again this week. Very tempted by Cameron Davis. So keep him on side.
Okay, Matt R5 says, who would be Steve's ideal Ryder Cup 2021 team? I know you're very dismissive of the Ryder Cup. Is there a European that you think, do you know what, we've got to find room for him? Because I'll tell you what, Steve, I will quickly say this. Harrington was doing a bit of commentary last week, and he completely contradicted himself. He said one of the commentators said, if you're playing with someone, do you find that they're always trying to impress you, your playing partner to get in the team? He said, look, the only thing that matters is how good their golf is. That's the only thing that's going to impress me. And then they showed Sergio taking a shot, and he says, Sergio will be very hard to leave out of my team. Come what may, he comes alive. So which one is it? Anyway, if you were captaining the Ryder Cup team, is there a player that you'd be thinking, I must try and get him on the team?
It's a very tricky one this year because it's an away gig, isn't it? And do you want experience on your team for an away mission? I mean, last week, Rasmus Højgaard, very, very impressive. From the wrong side of the draw, he finishes 6th in the Saudi International. I think Rasmus Højgaard at the age of 19. Would you like to throw him into the Ryder Cup bear pit away from home? I'm not so sure. If I could pick 12 players for the European team, it would be Rahm, Hatton, McIlroy, Hovland, Casey, Fleetwood, Rose, Westwood, Garcia, Poulter, Molinari, Stenson. Is that 12?
No way.
I load it with experience.
That's very experienced. Blimey.
Yeah, I think it's important because I said, assuming that the full crowds will be back by then, it's an intimidating atmosphere. The Yanks are desperate to win it. They're having 6 picks. They're so desperate to get their best team.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think that'll be our best.
Funny enough, John Smith says, do you agree with the US having 6 picks, or do you think it's a bit mean?
I just think they're fed up of losing, aren't they? The way to guarantee you get your best team is to have 12 picks. They make. If they lose this one, they probably have 12 picks the following one.
Is it Captain Stricker this time?
Captain Stricker and Captain Harrington. Yeah, I think Harrington would be a good captain. I think he's so enthusiastic, isn't he, about the game, and so he'd be so meticulous. I think he'd be a good captain as long as his head doesn't explode with. We don't
want that happening. No. What Easter egg are you hoping for from the wife?
A big one. I'm getting so hungry. The colder the weather, the hungrier I get. I don't know. Is that a thing?
A big Easter egg is a thing, yeah. But I mean,
no.
Brand?
Do people get hungrier when it's colder?
Yeah, I should think so. Yeah, being cold would sap your energy. Is there a particular brand of egg that you'd like to?
Lion Bar.
Okay. A weird one from OWDRW. How many majors will Doug Gim win in his career?
Gun to my head, 0. Yeah, not a huge Doug Gibbon fan, but I know a lot of people like him and think he's got huge potential. I haven't seen enough yet to think he's a major champion in the making.
Okay. Right, I think that'll do for now. Thank you very much indeed for your questions. Sorry if we didn't get through all of them, but like I say, we will work through them in the coming weeks. Okay, Steve, thank you very much indeed. You're in good spirits. You tipped to win the last 2 weeks, so that's good, isn't it?
Just want some snow, Bruce. I know a lot of
Have you not got any?
our northern listeners and will be wondering
Never mind northern listeners. There's plenty of snow around here. It's lovely. It's really nice.
It's infuriating, yeah, agree. Because the weather forecast changes, and Greg says, "Are we getting snow?" And then I see these heavy snow was listed for Wednesday this week on the BBC website. A day later, it disappeared. You can't.
Oh, that's such a shame. It's such a shame you can't jump in the car and come and see us. We got plenty. It's absolutely lovely. It's really, really nice. But yeah,
the lockdown boredom. You know, just got a sledge waiting to go. But it's just nothing to do. Is there? What are you doing? What are you doing with your days?
Do you know what? I stayed up last night and watched the Super Bowl. What a mistake that was. The halftime show was rubbish. The Weekend. Have you ever heard of The Weekend?
What is that? A band? Is it?
Well, I thought it was a band. It's actually a bloke called The Weekend, apparently. And I thought it was appalling. I mean, it's normally it's the biggest names in music do that, but
Whitney Houston's passed on, isn't she?
Yeah.
I think the last time I watched it, Whitney Houston was in action.
Right. And anyway, all my bets perished, and it was boring. And I went to bed at 2:30, and I thought that was a total waste of time. So I'm really tired now. Apart from that, just hanging on in there, really, Steve. We're all right, aren't we? As you say, it's we're just having to sit around watching Netflix and things. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah. I certainly didn't watch the Super Bowl. Did the Chicago Bears win?
No, they didn't. Not this year, mate. Not this year. What have we got next week? What's the big tourney next week?
We've got the Genesis Invitational next week, which is a good tournament. Dustin Johnson normally plays in that as well, so he may be playing 3 on the spin. But yeah, we haven't got European Tour Fair. We're missing that. But then the following week we've got a WGC.
Great.
It's going to hot up. This is going to be a super season. The middle of the year is full of it. Providing COVID doesn't go and get some new strain that ruins everything.
Brilliant. Okay, Steve, thank you very much indeed. Good luck with your tips this week. Thank you for watching. Thanks again for sending your questions in. As ever, as we always say, do please bet sensibly. And also, do please join us next week for another Sweet Spot.